Last time on TirarADeguello. Hello, my name is Dr. Andrew Michaels. I have your field report here of your appearance, how you floated down from the sky. The rupture in space has been called a rapture. People think that you are the son of the creator of the universe returned to help us. Please put your hands down. Please put your hands down, or they're gonna gas us. And now, the continuation of The Rapture, the greatest cranial nerve exam ever told, Part 2. Clear the room. Can you hear me? Clear the room. Clear the room of the gas. He's unconscious now. Try to help me. Oxygen levels returning. Gas is clear. The gas is clear to the room. Get some foil, those foil gloves. Put those foil lined gloves around his hands, on his hands. Put them on his hands, those foil. His power center around his hands, those holes in his hands. What do they mean? Of course he's not the Son of God. Can't you see? All the signs are there. His crucifixion is a suffocation, a death by crucifixion is a slow death by suffocation. His ribs and his shoulders aren't displaced. There's no evidence of arthritic damage from his joints being pulled apart. The body's stretched in his hands. The holes are in his hands. The biggest mistake, you'd have to put the nails through his wrists. They would pull right out of the skin between the fingers. The holes would be in his wrists. When they crucified, they put the holes in the wrists. His powers are focused around his hands with those foil-lined gloves on. If he tries to discharge his energy power, he'll burn himself up. So tape them on. I have some duct tape here somewhere. Everything's in confusion. He hit the table so hard he made a mess. You got the duct tape? Duct tape his hands. Duct tape his wrists so he can't pull the gloves off. And then restrain him to the chair. Restrain him completely. Other things gave it away. When I held up my computer, the flames above his head translating, Hebrew, well, not Hebrew, he spoke Aramaic to communicate with me in English. He was using the translator from the book of Acts that floats above the mouth, floating above the head in fire. That was just a visual mirage. He was actually speaking through a scientifically built technological universal translator. No, the name didn't give it away. I would call him Jesus, but he would hear the word Joshua. His name was actually Joshua. And that was his name, Joshua. But he spoke Aramaic, and he grew up in the Middle East. He wouldn't have any earthly recognition of the smells, eucalyptus and cinnamon at that time. Just that little bit of that knockout gas I got exposed to, making my head ring like a drum. Did you bring it in? This is what he wanted. This is what he came for. The Tesla device. No, 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 he's not fake. He's a human being. He's a human being, all right. And he's a human being from that time. It took me a while to figure out who he was. But with the help of one of my associates helping me through my earpiece, let me get that out. One of my associates helped me realize who he was. When I checked his neck, I felt, even though I felt he has a break in his neck, this man's been hung. And you can see some scratch marks on his neck. Do you see him right there? Hold his head up. Be gentle. Don't hurt him. He came for this. I had a vision. We're in trouble. I know where he came from. And I know who he is. He didn't come from neither heaven nor hell, but another place, purgatory, all the lost souls waiting for the return of Christ. And this man wanted to force the return of Christ, the lion, just like he wanted to force insurrection in the time of Jesus and his teachings in ancient Israel. He never understood. Jesus wasn't here to cause insurrection, to overthrow the Roman Empire and establish a Jewish state. He was never here for that. He was here as a facilitator for all mankind. All men are welcome at the table through Christ's witness, his teachings. Everybody says you have to believe, but if you think about it, he came to teach. He was a teacher. And even those that didn't believe could still see God. He tried to tell us that. He tried to show us that. I know I'm waxing on religiously and it might be getting too deep for everyone, but this man never understood. When he hung himself in shame, begging for forgiveness, realizing his mistake, he could neither go to heaven nor hell because his Creator could not see him through the sin. His Creator had pulled himself from the planet. Think. When Jesus was on the cross right before he died, remember what he said. Father, why have you forsaken me? His Father, the Creator, pulled his face from the planet, pulled himself away, looked away from the planet, because Christ had absorbed the sins of the people around him. He became the true facilitator of our journey, our potential coming together with our Creator to the next life. And the Creator, unable to look at that sin, unable to see that sin, turned his face away, abandoned the planet. And in that moment of abandonment, this man, Judas Iscariot, hung and broke his neck in that darkest of moments. And when he broke his neck and he hung there, his soul released. It couldn't go to be judged in heaven or hell because there was no God on the planet. God had left us. He turned away from his own Son, his Son making the ultimate sacrifice of absorbing all of our sins. Even his Father couldn't look upon that. His Son had to do it alone. God on earth, he had to do it alone. So where did Judas go? And this is the next part of the puzzle. Stay with me. A long time ago, there was an alien invasion so powerful, their intent was to capture the dreams of humanity, all of humanity, to capture our souls when we die. That little tiny thread, that supernatural thread that goes from our pineal gland across the universe to the next life. That moment of time and space where everything freezes, where your whole life, years and years of your life flash before your eyes in a moment. Time standing still. Time. The ability to control time and time travel. These aliens were coming to collect the souls of humanity. The most precious thing, the most precious artifact on the planet Earth. Not gold, not water. Our souls. And use them in their engines to time travel. Do you remember? Do you men remember? You ladies that have joined us recently. Do you remember? Have you read the dossiers? Have you seen the archive videos in your training? We fought the alien invasion by making a pact, a covenant, if you will, with Lord of Hell himself, Satan, the God bound to this earth, because he was losing souls. He was losing the battle right alongside the Creator, his archenemy. And humanity was caught in the vortex. The apocalypse of World War II opened a rupture in time and space. So many deaths, so many souls collected by the alien race, they were becoming unstoppable. Other extraterrestrial races came to the aid of humanity, warned us, gave us our computer devices, gave us technology to fight back, gave us the ability to time travel on a limited basis to stop this alien invasion, knowing humanity and its penchant for reproduction would give the time-traveling aliens that had stalked the universe unlimited amount of souls, unlimited amount of energy to power their great star drives and allow them to destroy all other civilizations. A galactic war averted by cutting off the alien supply of energy. The planet Earth, cutting it off from alien intervention and the collection of our souls. I know this all sounds like fantasy. A Pulp Fiction book written in the 1930s. But this is 1947. And Judas Iscariot is sitting there in front of us. And the reason he is, and he's reformed, and why he has tried to pass himself off as Christ, was to blasphemy, to come as the Antichrist, to bring forward as the Antichrist the rapture, forcing it, fooling humanity into seeing it, begging God to send Jesus back. The second coming fulfilled. The teachings and the prophecies fulfilled. And we were almost tricked. And we may be tricked yet. I can't wait for the story to get out. That we say he isn't the Messiah. Half the people are going to believe he is, and half the people are going to say he isn't. I don't know what's about to happen. But maybe we can play it off as a publicity stunt for the Russians. Maybe they'll fall for it. I don't know. My head is ringing. I lost my train of thought. Stay with me. Please stay with me. Oh, where was I? How is Judas sitting here right now? How? I'll explain it. His soul reaching out to the heavens when he hung himself. His body hanging. The dead weight of a man's broken neck on the end of a string. The puppet master truly becoming the puppet in the end. Hung and killed by his own devices. Choosing the exact moment in time when his Creator had lifted his visage from the heavens, left the heavens and earth barren and alone in our own pool of sin and selfishness. Jesus, absorbing all of this, absorbing all of our sins upon himself, funneling all of this through his sacrifice. Finally, God, realizing the evil of his creation, the evil and the depths of depravity of this thing called man, through his eyes, Jesus was able to finally see as God, as man, the wickedness, the potential evil, and the sins of all mankind in a moment of time. Time stopping, time not moving, because he was dying, and that thread was stretching out and out and out as he focused and absorbed all of our sins and looked as God upon us. Finally, God able to see truly what he had created. And in that moment, the thread from Judas stretches out and finds nothing and lands eventually in purgatory. That's right, the limbo between heaven and hell, the waiting place for all who are yet to be judged. And now what happens? He's still asleep, don't worry. Now what happens? He's unconscious, don't worry. Now we flash forward to modern times. And Dr. Andrew Michaels is given so much unlimited power, so much unlimited ability to detect, to discern the events around him. And in my foolishness, I made a covenant. The only thing I could think of with the devil. A deal with the devil. He takes the alien scientist and sends that alien to that same limbo, that same purgatory, that same dimensional space between heaven and hell. I sent that alien scientist there. The place was emptied out when Jesus absorbed all of the sins of the past, present, and future. All the people in limbo, in purgatory, waiting for the arrival of the Messiah. Their souls in wait from Moses, Adam, all the way back to the beginning, waiting in that womb for the Messiah to come and judge them. That moment had came and left. I put the alien scientist in that womb, and the only other creature in there for him to find was the traitor Judas Iscariot. Of course they found each other quickly. One feeling betrayed by humanity around him, feeling betrayed by Jesus, his anger growing. The other betrayed by hell, the demons. Both sides of the coin pitted against stopping the future from being altered. And here we have a man, Judas, willing to do anything to alter and force the hands, the mechanisms, the fates of the universe to his own will, wanting to destroy humanity in his own way, to rule it, to control the destiny of humanity through his own actions, to become a god himself. There he is. 2,000 and more years later, he's returned. And we're so foolish we don't see it. We couldn't see it. He fooled so many, he's still asleep. He fooled so many, I don't know where to go from here. Do we even tell the public, or do we just not address it and say, we don't know what happened to him, that he left? Do we say he's a space alien? That opens a whole nother can of worms. And he knows that. The United States government can't admit that. What are we going to do with you, Judas? So we have a man trying to control the fate of all of us through his actions, meeting an alien scientist bent on destroying humanity and farming it to power his time-traveling armada of ships to wipe out civilizations across the galaxy and start the final galactic war that will destroy everything in creation. To finally destroy the creation that God set forth. Jealousy. Pure, unadulterated jealousy. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine the level of evil it must take to destroy an entire planet? To wipe out an entire species. We do it all the time. We wipe out a species of bird. We wipe out a species of fish. We kill off a land animal. We erase it from the planet, but could you imagine destroying the planet? No hope, no return, wiping you from the history of the universe. You never existed. Judas would be king and emperor of this new republic of the planet Earth and rule 1,000 years while the alien scientists would farm our souls, casting away the Creator, casting away hell, shutting the gates of hell, shutting the pearly gates of heaven for his own devices, his own means, and leave us hopeless, leave us destitute and alone, truly alone in the universe. But don't fear, if his plan succeeds, Judas will have us right there, standing before the Armada, pointing to the heavens, saying, look, look, see what I have done, as the universe is finally snuffed out. And the alien scientist becomes the god of the next universe, the next galactic set of worlds. And it repeats itself. And not a benevolent God at that. What kind of creations would he put upon these worlds? The hands were the giveaway. Do you remember the alien scientist's hands? How he could channel power and feed and breathe through the hole in his hands. The hands were what give it away. I saw that before. I saw it before I knew when he was coming down from the heavens, his hands outstretched, the power emanating from them, from that unhealed hole where he had placed a device to generate great evil powers through Judas. I knew that was it. And I had them bring him here. And I had to prove it. I had to prove it beyond a shadow of doubt. The translator, his shoulders, his knowledge of smells from other parts of the world unknown at his time, his irregular heartbeat because he was scared, his anger, his demeanor. He shouldn't have been able to lift his shoulders the way he did. His ribs weren't dislocated at all. They were all in place. Feeling the crack in his neck, verifying his identity, or at least my guess, until I was proven right. Everything else matched. Yes, he is a man from biblical Jerusalem, but he's not the right man. He's a charlatan, trying to fool us into starting the Armageddon. Now all you have to listen to me now. You have to listen to me, because I'm not gonna, I can't go on much longer. I can feel the adrenaline slipping from my body. We're not going to kill him. I don't know what we're going to do with him, but we're not going to kill him. I'm going to do something a little better than that. I paint myself in a corner sometimes by my actions, but I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to use the Tesla device. That's what he came here for. Do not judge, lest you be judged. Right? Are we in agreement? Keep him tied down to that chair. I'm going to use the Tesla device. I'm going back in time. I'm putting him right back where he belongs. I'm going to let his maker judge him when he comes out of that tomb. When that rock rolls away from the face of that tomb 3 days after he was dead and crucified, put away, the first thing he's going to see is Judas standing in front of him, and he can judge him himself. I'm going to be all right. If I don't return, you have the film. You know where I went. You know what happened to me. I'll push the self-destruct button, and I'll end it right there. Please clear the room. Please clear the room. Goodbye. Wanky, wanky. Wanky, wanky. Do you remember me? Feeling a little groggy, huh? Heck, it really hurts, doesn't it? Feels like somebody stepped on your brain. I'm feeling it a little bit, too. I didn't get my gas mask on in time. This. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hurting. But not as much as you, Sweet Pea. You stay with me now, because the next part's going to be fun. You like time travel, don't you? Well, we're going back. We're going back. We're going to have a come to Jesus meeting. All sensors correct. Goodbye.